Good morning. Welcome to Monday Moments with Fran. It's great to see you. If it's your first time here, my name is Francesca McDowell, and I am a leadership coach, speaker, and author. And it's great to have you join us for Monday Moments. And I'm delighted to have a guest with me today. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Azzy.
Great, thank you so much. And today I really wanted to bring Azzy on to really share about a recent project he's embarked on, because I think there are so many people who have these dreams and goals and desires, and sometimes they get a bit stuck in their own head as to why they shouldn't do it. And so I'd love you to share about a podcast that you recently started.
Yeah, so I've started a recent podcast called The Law Be With You podcast, which is on Anchor, on Google, Apple, and Podcast Republic, and lots of other apps. And I've recently ported it to YouTube as well. So I'm technically now a podcaster and a YouTuber, but only technically a YouTuber.
It's fine. We enjoy technicalities. And so what's firstly, what is the podcast about?
Yeah, so for me, I'm a bit of a geek, and I love stories. I always have. I've always been a big film buff, TV shows. I like reading books. And I've always been into sort of the superhero genre, fantasy genre, science fiction genre. And so my love of things like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings has been a big thing in my life. And from that, I've gone with sort of the conviction I have as a Christian. So it's kind of these two huge worlds in my life, my Christian faith first and foremost, and then this world of being a geek and into fandom and lore. And I wanted to bring these two worlds together. And that's kind of what's kind of prompted me to be like, okay, how does that work? What would that really look like in reality? And the podcast is kind of from that.
Excellent. So good. Now, for people who don't know you, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, wow, that's amazing. He's done this podcast. He must be just, up there, super confident, super on it, and have always been like this.
Yeah.
Able to kind of, get in front of a camera or get on a microphone and start recording and sharing. So
Yeah.
I'd love to kind of hear a little bit about your journey to kind of get where you're up to now. Was it just like walk in the park, blinked one day and here we are, this podcaster, or was it a slightly different journey?
It was a different journey, to be honest. You've got to start from somewhere, and I think the biggest thing for me is taking the first leap or the first step or whatever, and just starting it is the biggest thing, and then having an idea or a concept that you want to run with. Now, it is hard in the sense of you can overthink it and start to get insecure and think, oh, what people are going to like it? Are folks going to play this? Is it, and whatnot? But it really did come out of the fact that, wow, it's kind of a personal story, but like me and my wife, we're about to have a little girl. And from this kind of conviction of being a first-time dad, there was a kind of conviction like, I want to put something out there in the world. I want my voice to be heard. And I think the whole idea of, being a creator in the sense of, like, obviously God-enabled, but being a sort of creator, being a father or being in that role, it prompted a creative side in me that I didn't really look to fully explore before. So that was the kind of the catalyst, the spark. And I thought, you know what, let me start. So I spoke to a few friends about it, and they said, well, on the Anchor app, you can start a podcast. It's free. You don't have to actually even pay any money to start it. And as long as you've got an idea what you want to do, just give it a go and whatnot. And that's really where it started for me.
Amazing. I love that. Firstly, congratulations.
Thank you.
The baby that's coming soon. Really delighted for you and your wife. And isn't it amazing how certain life events do bring out a different side of us,
Yeah.
And I definitely think that when you start creating, you're almost leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
It becomes more than just about, who you speak to in your daily life, but actually, like you were saying, the mark you can leave and letting your voice be heard in the world. So that is so incredible. So
Thank you.
And are you enjoying the journey?
I mean, I am enjoying the journey, but there's a lot to think about. It's quite, in a sense of because on the show so far, I've got different collaborators on there who are either as knowledgeable as me or even way more knowledgeable than me. So it's kind of like I've been like, oh, I need you on the show. When are you available? And get you to speak on it, because I know I don't just want them to just hear my voice, although with my Brummie accent and whatnot. But there you go. But I've got other guys on there that are really knowledgeable in certain areas. So it's like there's an organisational side to it, and also just thinking about from a format or technical side, like how do you want it to look like? How long do you want an episode to be? What is the theme of each episode? So there's a few things to think about, but I have really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. That's so good to hear. And would you say there was, I mean, did you have to overcome any fears or any insecurities such as public speaking or comparison? Was there
Yeah.
anything for you that were kind of a little bit like, I've got to work a little bit harder to kind of overcome that?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, in a sense, for me, I think the difficult part was like starting it was difficult. I think for a lot of your listeners as well and your audience, it might just be that initial kind of, okay, that mental battle of, what will it look like? How, how will it be received? So I think the initial thing was like, get over that first hurdle.
Sure.
If you've got an idea, you've got a dream, follow that dream. But the first thing, do episode 1.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing for me. Is I think I say as a lesson to anybody, start it, because from that you'll get ideas, you create the creative energies will go, and you'll really be able to move forward. But the first hurdle is to start the project, I think.
Yeah. Amazing. Would you have said 5 years ago that one day you'd be a podcaster and a technical YouTuber?
No, no, no way. I mean, it's so funny because like I've even started to be like, oh, I've started Googling. So on YouTube, we're called Christian Fandom Geek. And so I'm a Christian first, I'm a fan, so fandom, and I'm a geek as well. And I kind of like Googled it, and it came up on there, and it showed the YouTube channel. And I was like, whoa, like I'm on, you could Google the channel, it's on there. It felt more tangible and more real. And I thought, that's amazing. And like you say, if I had a time machine that could go back 5 years ago, I would not have imagined me doing that now. No.
Amazing. And I absolutely love that. Because I mean, even if we were to say like a year ago, I think there are so many things in people's lives that they right now can't imagine themselves doing because they cannot get out of their own heads to realize that there's so much more inside of them. And I think that should firstly be an encouragement for anybody who's listening, that you don't know what you can become and what you can do, even in, well, maybe even 6 months time, right?
Yeah.
In 5 years time. And so to give yourself permission to dream big, and like you said, just start, get that first episode done.
Yeah, totally agreeing with that. Yeah.
And how did you feel after you had done that first episode?
I think I was like a little bit harsh in a way. I was like, oh, I was thinking about the things I wanted to improve.
Sure.
And so I think there's that kind of drive to, okay, but I think I had to remember, like, okay, it's the first episode. It's not going to be perfect. It's just a start. But from that, I was getting more ideas about what I wanted the second episode to look like, what I wanted the third episode to look like. And so in that respect, the first episode won't be perfect, but it was a boost to my confidence that I got it done. I loaded it up on Anchor on the app, and it flashed through an Anchor. Oh, this is now on Google. This is now on Apple Podcasts. This is now on Podcast Republic. And I was like, oh, it's all on all these different podcasts now. It's out there in the world. And I was like, so from that point of view, that was a good thing. That was like, yeah, I'm really happy with that.
Fantastic. Well, really, really well done, because there are many, and so in my role as a leadership coach, which I do full time, I see many people who sit on things and they're almost waiting for life to be perfect. They're waiting to be perfect. They're waiting to really start. But the reality is, like you said, you're going to look back and say, well, actually, I can improve and I can grow here. And that's a really healthy place to be at. We want to be continually learning and developing. And I know when I started Monday Moments with Fran like 3 years ago, I was nowhere near as confident. My setup was different. I'm not where I am today because there's learning and there's growing to be done on the journey. So it's really important.
Awesome.
Fantastic. So thank you so much for coming on to share today. And I just want to encourage anybody who is listening. Have you ever thought it? Have you ever thought about starting a podcast? Because if you have, what is holding you back from doing it? There is room for you. There is room for your voice. One thing I love that Az shared is just about how he labels himself. He's a Christian. He's a fan and he's a geek, right? And that's unique as a combination, because as much as there are so many people out there sharing content, each and every one of us brings something unique to the table, and that's us, and that's our story. And so never feel like you can't just do something because there's a lot of people out there doing it. There is room for you at the table. So, Aaron, I'm going to leave you with the final words. How would you encourage somebody who is on the verge of starting? I mean, it may be a podcast, but it could be something else, just something that
Yeah.
is in their heart to do. Really, what would you really say to them?
Yeah, I think like dream big, and I would say like, but you dream big, but remember like the first initial part of it might be a small thing. It might just be a case of downloading an app or buying a cheap microphone off Amazon or something like that. But actually, just start it. Start it. This is the time to start it. Don't delay, and run with it, and you'll find that actually initially you might be like unsure of yourself, but your confidence will build as you go along.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it. Guys,
Thanks for having me.
oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being on today with Monday Moments with Fran. As always, do not forget to encourage somebody else this week. Take care. God bless you. And I shall see you next week.